None of the brands these creators mention, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Chanel, especially Hermès, need to go to China for production. And here is why. Labels like Made in France and Made in Italy comes with strict restrictions. And brands at that level don't risk compromising that. It's just not worth it.
Farms has workshops in France, and most bags are made by a single artisan. So go ahead and buy your DH Gate bag, whatever bag, and see how it holds up over the years. Trust me, Hermès is not concerned.
You would expect from Walmart, this level of packaging. I think this to me feels like what I would expect would come from like DH Gate or Temu or something. Is it a fake? Is it not? Why would Walmart, in my mind, dice with potentially getting sued by Hermès for launching a short-run series of bags that some of us would call fake?
I need you people to wake up and critically think and stop believing this shit that you see on TikTok, okay?
You mean to tell me you believe that this man is making your Birkins in China? If he's a Birkin artisan, then I'm an astronaut.
It's made in China. I can get that for $12.
Go outside and touch grass. Some of you guys feel like this is your moment to shine and you can finally stick it to people that buy lug goods without like even fact checking anything about any of this information that you're being fed from these factories or people with these TikTok videos, which seemingly have false information, everything from pricing to the bags. Like, I just don't understand. A lot of these luxury brands own their own manufacturing.
What if I told you the world's most coveted luxury handbag, the Birkin, that untouchable symbol of wealth and exclusivity, was allegedly being sold at Walmart? No, this isn't satire. This is a bombshell that has fashion insiders gasping, TikTok sleuths spiraling, and legacy heirs lawyering up. The whisper? Hermès, the French house that made scarcity its brand, may have secretly white-labeled its imperfect Birkin stock and dumped it into Middle America under generic labels. And now Jane Birkin's daughter herself is allegedly dragging them to court. If this is true, it's not just a scandal. It's the collapse of luxury as we know it. Birkins at Walmart? That can't be right. But the internet says otherwise, and the receipts are jaw-dropping. Shoppers and sleuths alike have been left stunned after a flood of Birkin-style bags were spotted not just online, but allegedly inside actual Walmart stores. We're talking orange dust bags, near-identical packaging, and stitching that looks a little too familiar. And the kicker? Some of these bags are being compared side by side with authentic Hermès Birkins, and the differences are shockingly subtle. At first glance, you'd swear they were fakes, cheap knockoffs like the kind you'd find on DHgate or Temu. But look closer, and people are starting to ask, what if they're not fakes at all? What if they're real, just not meant to be sold like this? Some even claim the hardware, leather texture, and serial codes bear an uncanny resemblance to Hermès' own authentication patterns. So now the question isn't just how these bags got there, it's why. Why would a brand as notoriously elitist and protective as Hermès, the same company that makes customers wait years for a Birkin, risk its empire by letting even a whiff of Walmart touch its sacred brand? Is this a case of counterfeiting gone viral, or is something darker happening behind the scenes? For decades, owning a Birkin wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a lifestyle milestone. It symbolized arrival, access, and acceptance into an elite circle where money alone wasn't enough. You had to earn a Birkin, not by walking into a store, but by building a relationship, proving your worth, and waiting, sometimes for years. Hermès didn't just sell handbags, they sold mystique. The Birkin bag, named after French icon Jane Birkin, became the holy grail of luxury. Hand-stitched by artisans in France, with wait lists longer than a royal coronation and price tags rivaling a down payment on a house. It was the ultimate status symbol. Quiet luxury before the term ever existed. So imagine the heartbreak of longtime collectors, the outrage of those who sacrificed, waited, and climbed the Hermès ladder, only to see what looks like a Birkin knockoff popping up in bulk at Walmart. The sacred orange box, reduced to clearance bin chaos. The whispers have turned to fury. If the rumors are true, if Hermès secretly white-labeled imperfect or unsold bags for mass-market liquidation, then this isn't just a supply chain scandal. It's a betrayal of loyalty, of brand integrity, of everything the Birkin stood for. Because if anyone can own one now, what was the point of wanting it in the first place? This scandal isn't just about counterfeit luxury or social media sleuthing anymore. It just got personal. Because when Charlotte Gainsbourg gets involved, the fashion world pays attention. She isn't just another celebrity name. She's fashion royalty, the daughter of Jane Birkin herself, the very woman whose name graces the most coveted handbag in history. Charlotte has spent her life preserving her mother's legacy. From music to film to fashion, she carries the Birkin name not as a trend, but as a birthright. So when reports surface that Hermès may have allowed subpar or unofficial Birkin bags to quietly filter into Walmart's inventory, allegedly slapped with the same iconic design her mother inspired, Charlotte didn't stay silent. Sources claim she's considering legal action, not for money, but for respect, for legacy, for the integrity of her mother's name, which Hermès built an empire on. If this lawsuit goes through, it won't just be a PR nightmare, it'll be a reckoning. Because what's at stake isn't just a bag or a brand. It's a mother's legacy being allegedly watered down and white labeled for mass consumption. To Charlotte, this isn't about fashion. It's about family. And if Hermès thought the fallout was bad before, they may have underestimated the one woman who has every reason to fight back. Now here's where things get murky and honestly a little terrifying. Because according to the TikTok sleuths and whistleblower whispers, these weren't fake Birkins showing up at Walmart. They were real ones. Or at least, they started out that way. Allegedly, these bags were once housed inside Hermès workshops, the same sacred spaces where artisans handcraft each Birkin with surgical precision. But instead of being destroyed for not meeting the brand's famously ruthless quality standards, they were quietly redirected, repackaged, rerouted. The theory? Hermès had a shadow supply chain, a silent second stream where imperfect Birkins, bags with slightly uneven stitching, off-tone leather, or hardware that didn't pass the gold plating test, weren't scrapped like the brand claims. Instead, they were allegedly white-labeled, stripped of serials, repurposed for mass-market sale. And TikTok noticed. Side-by-side comparisons showed bags with thinner handles, lighter hardware, and misaligned feet. One even had a crooked lock. These details would never survive Hermès quality control, or so we thought. If this theory holds, Hermès may have been moving flawed stock through back channels, dressing them up just enough to pass at first glance, and selling them through discount retailers under the radar. So the question isn't just why a Birkin was spotted at Walmart. It's whose Birkin it was, and what Hermès was trying to hide by sending it there. They say the internet never forgets, but in this case, it uncovered what Hermès hoped would stay buried. It didn't take a fashion insider to crack the case. It took TikTok, Reddit, regular people with sharp eyes, receipts, and zero patience for corporate games. One user noticed the first bag at a Florida Walmart, tagged as genuine leather, but the shape was unmistakable, that classic Birkin silhouette. Another compared the stitching pattern to her own certified Birkin and found subtle differences. Less symmetry, thinner thread, misaligned handles. Then came the deep dives. TikTokers tracked supplier codes hidden inside inner flaps. Others uncovered shipping invoices tied to third-party logistics companies used by Hermès, with rerouted deliveries ending not in Paris, but in Arkansas. Reddit threads went nuclear. Photos from multiple states showed similar bags popping up in clearance bins. Some still had faint serial stamps, poorly scrubbed, but there. Someone even matched the hardware screws to the same style used in Hermès' discontinued 2018 production batch. This wasn't a random one-off. It was a pattern, a pipeline. And what made it explosive wasn't just the scandal itself. It was who uncovered it. Not journalists, not fashion watchdogs, but regular people who refused to believe that luxury was above scrutiny. It was grassroots accountability versus corporate secrecy. And for once, the internet won. As the internet erupted, fashion forums exploded, and TikTok churned out expose after expose. Hermès said nothing. No press release. No denial. No legal threats to influencers. Just silence. And from a brand as legacy-driven and notoriously protective as Hermès, that silence speaks volumes. This isn't some fast fashion scandal. This is Hermès, a house that built its entire empire on scarcity, mystery, and control. If someone even mispronounces Birkin, they usually pounce. So why now? With Walmart receipts going viral and Charlotte Gainsbourg reportedly lawyering up, is Hermès pretending nothing happened? Some call it strategy, letting the storm pass. But others see something far more suspicious. Because silence doesn't protect a reputation. It protects liability. The truth is, if even a fraction of the allegations are true, if imperfect Birkins were rerouted to discount shelves, then Hermès isn't just facing embarrassment. They're staring down fraud, brand dilution, and a potential class action lawsuit from collectors who paid six figures for what they thought was exclusivity. And the longer Hermès stays quiet, the louder the accusations become. Because when a billion-dollar brand with everything to lose suddenly has nothing to say, you have to ask, were they hiding? Just when the rumors were starting to cool, a new voice emerged. One not from TikTok, not from Reddit, but allegedly from inside Hermès itself. According to whispers spreading across luxury resale circles and private discords, a former logistics coordinator for a Hermès distribution partner came forward. And what they described wasn't just a slip-up, it was a system. This anonymous whistleblower claims they saw irregular inventory orders, shipments of non-retail grade, items being redirected from standard Hermès routes to third-party handlers. Not destroyed, not archived, rerouted. And here's where it gets chilling. The codes on some of those units allegedly matched known Birkin SKUs, but were tagged non-conforming or substandard. The theory? Instead of destroying imperfect bags, Hermès rebranded them, removed key identifiers, and offloaded them quietly to discount vendors under shell companies. That's how they could show up, stripped of prestige, but still eerily familiar, on discount shelves at Walmart or deep in Temi's luxury knockoff abyss. Even more shocking, the insider hinted that documentation exists. Shipping manifests, inventory flags, maybe even internal memos explaining the disposal strategy. Of course, no one has gone fully public yet. The stakes are too high. NDAs, fear, reputation. But if that whistleblower's claims are real, then this isn't just about a few bags in the wrong hands. This is corporate deception at the highest level, and the cracks in the Hermès fantasy may be deeper than anyone imagined. Because what's worse than buying a fake Birkin? Buying a real one, meant for the trash. If you've ever tried to buy a Birkin, you know it's not about money. It's about access, loyalty, obedience. You don't just walk into Hermès and point at a Birkin. You spend years cultivating a relationship, dropping tens of thousands on scarves, belts, tableware, whatever they'll let you buy, just to get on a wait list. And even then, it's a maybe. It's a game. A carefully controlled dance of supply, status, and submission. So imagine how Hermès VIPs felt when they saw that bag. Those same signature handles, those unmistakable clochettes, sitting quietly behind locked plastic in a Walmart. No sales associate, no purchase history, no gatekeeping, just there, for anyone. It's not just a scandal, it's a betrayal. Because the illusion of scarcity is what makes the Birkin valuable. Hermès didn't just sell bags. They sold loyalty. They sold exclusion. And now, that loyalty feels like a scam. Because while clients were told to spend $50,000 before being considered for a Birkin, Hermès may have been quietly unloading its rejects into the mass market behind everyone's backs. No heads up, no warning, just a quiet transfer of supposed trash into someone else's treasure. The people who bought into the Hermès fantasy, the ones who curated their closets, curated their lives, they're left wondering, was it all just theater? Because if a Birkin can show up on aisle 7 next to discount cologne and knockoff headphones, then what exactly were they buying all this time? Not exclusivity, not rarity, just the most expensive customer service in retail history. Something strange is happening in the world of high fashion, and it's not coming from a runway. It's happening online, quietly, Strategically, stylists are archiving, influencers are deleting, and the once coveted Birkin bag, it's disappearing from feeds like it never existed. What used to be the ultimate flex, the handbag of royalty, rappers, and red carpets, is now a PR liability. Stylists who once bragged about pulling Birkins for their A-list clients are silent. Not a whisper, not a post. Just radio silence. And then you notice, the same celebrities who used to flaunt their rainbow wall of Birkins, suddenly opting for Loewe, Bottega, even vintage Coach. Anything but Hermès. Because now, the Birkin doesn't say exclusive. It says scandal. It says mass market mystery. And in a business where image is currency, no one wants to be the last one clinging to a sinking ship. This isn't just about one viral TikTok. This is about perception, the invisible line between luxury and embarrassment. And once that line blurs, there's no going back. A Birkin in a Walmart isn't just a meme. It's a reputation meltdown. And for the first time in decades, fashion's inner circle is asking, is the Birkin over? Because in this industry, once the mystique is gone, so is the magic. Let's get real. This isn't a flea market. It's Walmart, one of the most powerful, precise, and tightly controlled retail machines on the planet. They know where every box comes from, where it goes, and what's inside down to the SKU. So ask yourself, how could they not know they were selling Hermès Birkins? This isn't just a mislabeled shipment or a rogue third-party vendor. These bags had structure. They had packaging. Some even had tags that mirrored Hermès' internal codes. That doesn't happen by accident. Not under Walmart's watch. So now the question becomes, was this a silent partnership? A backdoor deal to offload imperfect inventory? Or worse, was it willful ignorance? Because when you're dealing with a retailer that audits its own suppliers to the millisecond, oops, we didn't notice luxury handbags in our supply chain, doesn't hold up. Either someone at the top sign off, or they look the other way. And if Walmart was in on it, even quietly, that's not just a scandal. It's corporate betrayal at scale. Billions in brand value swapped for bottom line margin. So yes, Hermès may be in the hot seat, but Walmart might have just caught fire too. And just like that, the myth unravels. For decades, the Birkin wasn't just a handbag. It was the symbol of untouchable luxury. A handcrafted heirloom. A whispered status symbol, a tribute to Jane Birkin herself, graceful, rebellious, and effortlessly rare. But now, that sacred name might have been stamped on a boxes stacked under fluorescent lights at Walmart, not as a symbol of legacy, but as inventory, quietly rebranded, silently rerouted, stripped of everything it once meant. What does exclusivity mean when the world's most coveted bag might share shelf space with discounted Tupperware? This wasn't just a fashion scandal. It was a fracture in the illusion, the one we all bought into. That loyalty mattered. That waitlist meant something. That luxury was about art, not margin. And for the women who lined up, who waited years, who built their wardrobes and identities around the Birkin, what's left now? Just a barcode. Just another product. Just another lie in a very pretty box. Jane Birkin lent her name to a masterpiece. But somewhere along the line, the masterpiece got monetized and the myth mass-produced. The legacy isn't what it was. And maybe it never was